honestly, in all seriousness, with the way that offense has looked, if they could somehow run an offense similar to what Alabama is doing, I think they could be. I think they could make some noise and they could start getting dangerous quick.
We doing everything they talk about. You know I'm everything a boss about. Not putting work and gotta toss them out. I'm really biting, they just barking out. I'm really riding, they just parking now. His street, what to talk about. See the big H when I'm walking out. Yeah.
Here we go. Athletes Forum Podcast, College Football Edition, Week 6. Shout out to the locker room. That's you guys. Thank you guys for keep coming back and supporting. What's going on, everyone? How's everyone doing? I'm excited to get this thing kicking off as we enter Week 6 in college football. And we're going to talk about a couple of games. There's not a lot of great matchups this week, and I'm going to be fairly honest. Next week is the big week, October 12th. We've talked about it millions of times, and earlier in the year, it's the biggest week college football has ever seen. So many big ranked matchups, and we're going to dive into that. But this is kind of like the appetizer, to that week, and we'll dive into some games this week. First, before we kick this off, subscribe to the channel, share with a friend, drop a comment. Most important things, this is the locker room. We conversate, we talk, and I appreciate everyone's participation and thoughts. And let's keep this thing rolling. So, first thing we want to dive into is let's just bring up what Week 6 actually looks like right now when it comes to college football. So, again, some of the matchups to keep an eye on: Missouri, Texas A&M. We'll talk into that a little bit. Michigan, Washington. We'll talk about that a little bit. My Florida Gators coming off a bye, playing UCF, who just lost to Colorado. If we don't get this one, I know I said that many times, but if you can't beat a team that just lost to Colorado by 20-something points and you're coming off a bye before you get into your hardest stretch, then we might as well just go right to, the offseason at that point. Miami Cal should be a good game. We'll dive into that. Clemson, Florida State lost a little bit of stain. DJ Uyunglele hurt, so he won't have the opportunity to go up against this old team in Clemson and Dabo Swinney. Some other matchups. Syracuse UNLV is tonight. That's going to be a fun game to watch, obviously, with everything that's been going on with UNLV and Syracuse. A team, a school that's been changing things ever since hiring Fran Brown. So we'll see. And then Ohio State starts getting in the Big Ten play versus Iowa. I believe they're a 24, 23-point. I think that's the spread on that game. Will they cover? I think they will when you go on up against a team that's really one-dimensional. But we'll see, because Iowa, they're already known for playing good defense, and we'll see how it pans out. But let's start diving into some of the games that I want you guys to keep an eye on and some of the games that I want to talk about. So, the first game, let's talk about this matchup we got here, Michigan versus Washington. We saw this matchup in the national championship last year. Obviously, Michigan was a different team, and they dominated. Washington was also a different team. Since then, Kalen DeBoer has gone to Miami. Michael Penix has went to the draft. Roma Dunze has gone to the draft with a lot of other players. It's a whole new team. It's a purple out. It's sold out over there in Washington. Should be a great game. This is going to be Michigan's true test, their first road game. Alex Orji is at quarterback. And honestly, in all seriousness, Michigan really hasn't been great, and they kind of been staying above water, right? They should have lost last week versus Minnesota. Minnesota should have got that onside kick, but they got called offsides, which wasn't an offsides, but that's for a different day. So we'll see. But Michigan really needs this win. And I think the key to Michigan's success is Alex Orji at quarterback. If they could run an offense similar to what Bama does with Jalen Milroe and use his skill set more, they could be a little bit more dynamic and maybe make some noise in the Big Ten. But again, you got to play to your player's strength, and they're definitely going to run the ball. That's who Michigan's identity is. That's what Sharon Moore wants to do. But if their offense could get a little better play, their defense is good. So we'll see. I think defensive coordinator for Michigan, Wink Martindale, is going to draw some stuff up for Will Rogers at quarterback from Washington, who just came off a bad loss versus Rutgers. They should have beat Rutgers, in all honesty. Missed field goal at the end. They outgained Rutgers in yardage. They should have beat Rutgers, but it's college football. Anything can happen. So we'll see how this pans out. Michigan ranked the top 10 team. They are underdog in this game, believe it or not. I think the line is 2 or it is 1.5. I'm going to say it's not really an upset. I'm going to say Michigan gets this game. I like them being a little bit more physical. I think they're still battling off last year's reputation and who they are this year with their identity. But I think this is the game that gets them back on track. I don't necessarily think they're a great team, but I think this is the game where they get back to running. They get away from home, bye week, underdog. This is the game they need. So I think Michigan will pull this game off. Next game I want to dive into is a team that's kind of going to unfamiliar territory, right? Miami's going all the way out to Cal Berkeley, right? It's going to be a big game. ESPN College Game Day will be there. Miami coming off a close win versus Virginia Tech last Friday. Hail Mary, we talked about it on here. Now they're going up against Cal, weird ACC team, but it's been giving us some ACC some fits. They had a win versus Auburn. They beat had a bad loss versus Florida State. Definitely bad loss versus Florida State, but I know they've been making some noise in the ACC, or trying to at least. So we'll see, what happens and where we go from there. Miami, how do they bounce back? Long road trip. How's everything come to play? They've shown that they're vulnerable and that they're going to lose a game that they shouldn't. But we'll see. Is this the game? I think so. I think Cal's going to pull this upset off, if I'm being honest with you. I think a lot of people are underestimating Cal. I know they have a good running back. But we'll see how things goes. But I'm going to pick the Cal Bears to upset Miami. Maybe this is part of me being a Florida Gators fan, or maybe this is me trying to make some money. So I'm going to say Cal beats Miami in this game. This is going to be a good one. All right, Rutgers, undefeated, 4-0, first time since 2012 versus Nebraska, right, who got 4-1, 5-1, I believe, 5-1. They're coming off a win versus Purdue, or a nice, gritty, tough win. Didn't really get going until like the fourth quarter. This is the game I'm going to be watching this weekend, because when you look at Rutgers wins, it's like a Howard. It's like obviously Washington. That was a good win. Some other close ones. Virginia Tech, they got to win against there. How good is Rutgers? Right? How good is Rutgers is the key. They got a good running back in Kyle Monungai. Ironically, I played against his brother in college, Kevin Monungai, who played for the University of Villanova. So how good is Rutgers? They're going to be tested because Nebraska's tough. They're tough up front on both sides of the ball. Dylan Raiola, obviously, at quarterback. The line is 6.5. I think it's 7. I don't know if Rutgers wins. I want them to win. I don't know if they win, but I think this is going to be a closer game than 7 points. So I'm rocking with I'm going to take Rutgers plus the 7. I think that's the line. Maybe they win, maybe they don't. But it's going to be a good game. You need to keep an eye on and watch the stats for this one, because this could make some noise. If Nebraska loses this game, they still got to play Indiana and Ohio State the next couple of games, who are also undefeated. Rutgers has a very easy schedule. They get past Nebraska. They could easily run the table. You got a tough game versus USC later down the road, but it's not much challenges on Rutgers' schedule. And we looked at it last week. I don't have it here with me, but there's a chance, two teams could be going in opposite directions after this game, one way or another. Rutgers could still bounce back. Will Nebraska bounce back with 2 losses? Playoff hopes might be in jeopardy. We shall see. But I'm rocking with Rutgers. I'm going to take them on the money line, actually. I want them to win, so I'm going to rock with Rutgers. Shout out to New Jersey. All right, last game we're going to talk about. Again, this is a quick one, but something I want to dive into. Game of the week, Missouri versus A&M. 2 teams we really don't even kind of know how good they are, if I'm being honest with you. Missouri, a team, really has a weak schedule. They play good when there's a big game or against tough opponents. Obviously, Georgia last year or 2 years ago, obviously in the bowl game versus Ohio State. So Missouri's tricky because we don't really know who they are. Texas A&M, we don't know who's playing quarterback. I know they got Connor Wegman, or I forgot the other kid's name, but they've been having more success with the other quarterback ever since Connor got hurt in the Notre Dame game. Missouri, Luther Burden, dog at receiver. How good are the Tigers? I think the Tigers win. I think the over-under maybe like 48. I'm going to take the under. I don't think Texas A&M still score a lot of points. Missouri's been starting slow. So we'll see. But I think this is going to be a close game. I think this will be a close game, so we'll see. But those are the games I really wanted to chop it up about. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you guys think about those games. Let me know what you guys think about these games. Who wins tonight? Syracuse versus UNLV. Line +6 to UNLV, or -6 for UNLV. I'm going to pick Syracuse on the upset. But let me know what you guys think. Does Georgia bounce back versus Auburn? Tennessee kind of been cakewalking through the SEC, which is dangerous because they're a good team, and they've been blowing good teams out too. So, again, Tennessee's been playing well. I know they got Arkansas. Michigan State, Oregon, my former defensive coordinator at Michigan State, Joe Rossi, going up against the Oregon Ducks. They just came off a bad loss versus Ohio State, but Ohio State is good. this is kind of familiar territory for Michigan State coaching staff. Former coach at Oregon State last year, so they know each other. So maybe this game's a little closer than we think. I don't know, but drop a comment. Let me know what you guys think. Again, share this with a friend. Leave a comment. Subscribe. I appreciate your support. This is the Athletes Forum Podcast.